afternoon. I'm Riza Diaz. This is One News Now. Vaccine czar Carlito Galvez Jr. says the arrival of 2 million COVID-19 vaccines in the country this April is still on track. Let's get more details. We have Maricel Halili. She's joining us live from Mandaluyong. Mase, what vaccine brands and how many doses per manufacturer are we expecting this month?
Hi, Riza. Dr. Sir Carlito Galvez mentioned earlier that we expect around 1.5 million doses of Sinovac from China, which will be delivered this month. Aside from that, we're also expecting 500,000 doses of Gamaleya Sputnik V from Russia also this month. So that's a total of 2 million doses if there won't be any delay. But of course, we're still hoping that there will still be delivery of vaccines from COVAX facility as soon as possible.
Given this number, Mase, when is the government planning to vaccinate the general public?
Their target is to start the vaccination for general public by July or mid this year. For now, the target of the national government is to vaccinate about 500,000 to 1 million individuals for the months of April and May. But come June and July, they hope to vaccinate around 2 to 3 million per week.
Can you give us an update too on how the negotiations are going with the agreements as to supply with other vaccine manufacturers?
Well, they hope to sign an agreement before the end of this week for another brand of vaccine. But based on the report of Vaccine Czar Carlito Galvez earlier, it seems that there is a huge progress when it comes to the deal with the vaccines. Just to give you a few figures based on the report, aside from the 2 million doses that we are expecting this month, Secretary Galvez also mentioned that by May or next month, we are also expecting around 2 million doses of Sinovac, 2 million from Gamaleya, and 194,000 doses from Moderna. For June, we're also expecting around 4.5 million Sinovac, 4 million Gamaleya. We're also expecting grants of Novavax and AstraZeneca.
President Duterte earlier said he will be waiving his COVID-19 vaccine. Does this mean that the chief executive will no longer be vaccinated?
Secretary Harry Roque clarified that statement that was made by President Duterte last night. Secretary Roque said that what the president meant was he is waiving his slot for vaccine for now, since we still don't have a sufficient number of doses for everybody. So for those who are willing to get his slot, is willing to give it up, just for now. But in the future, he's still willing to be vaccinated.
Thank you for that clarification. Now, will the president certify as urgent the Bayanihan 3 law?
We still have to confirm that. The problem with the Bayanihan, based on the explanation of Secretary Roque earlier, the economic managers are still looking for the source of fund for this to avoid huge deficit of the country. For now, we're not yet we're not using funds from the Bayanihan 1 and 2 anymore. We're using budget from the 2021 allotted funds.
Secretary Roque also confirmed that President Duterte will talk with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Do we have information on what will be discussed in that conversation, Mase?
Unfortunately, it's a confidential information, so he cannot divulge what will be the topic of the discussion or the talk between Russian President Vladimir Putin and President Duterte. It seems that Secretary Roque just confirmed that there will be a talk over the phone because his president's former aide, Senator Bongo, has already confirmed it.
Mase, how about the palace response to those saying that declaring MECQ and NCR Plus was premature? What is their thoughts? What are their thoughts, rather?
Well, Malacanang has been consistent in saying that one of their consideration for easing the community restrictions in NCR Plus is the number of hospital beds available. The Department of Health has already explained that they already used or took advantage of the 2-week implementation of the enhanced community quarantine to establish more facilities and more beds for COVID patients. That is basically the reason why the IATF has decided to ease the restrictions.
Well, thank you for all those information. That's Maricel Halili reporting live from Mandaluyong. Meanwhile, the vaccine expert panel agrees with the Octa Research Group's proposal to focus vaccination efforts in Metro Manila. Speaking with the chiefs, a vaccine expert panel head, Nina Gloriani, said that to achieve herd immunity, the government should vaccinate more people from higher risk areas, including NCR. Gloriani added that the rest of the population should wait since it is uncertain how the virus will change. Because of this, she warned that COVID vaccinations might become a yearly event.
They're already testing the new forms of vaccine. Ang tawag natin dyan, second generation vaccines or updated vaccines. So we foresee that for COVID, para siyang flu na taon-taon meron tayo, naiiba ang laman. Kasi
so ma'am, every year meron tayong ganitong pila every year.
Oo nga, ano ba yan?
Realistically speaking, di ba?
Meron namang possibility na yung iba will have long-lasting immunity.
Now, here are other stories we're keeping our eyes on. Sinovac may start its clinical trials among senior citizens in the Philippines as early as next month. Dr. Nina Gloriani of the Vaccine Expert Panel says the results will be added to the limited data from the Chinese biopharmaceutical company. Prosecutors of the Justice Department have been included in the government's A4 vaccination priority group. DOJ Secretary Minardo Guevara notes that the entire prosecution service is covered, but the elderly or those with comorbidities may get their shots earlier. And Jinggoy Estrada says his father, former President Joseph Erap Estrada, is now free of COVID-19 and can be transferred to a regular room soon. Erap was previously put under ventilation support in a hospital due to his pneumonia triggered by COVID-19. As several countries continue to deal with a surge in COVID-19 cases, one professor from the Johns Hopkins University highlights the importance of completing the vaccine drive with health protocols. The details from this Bloomberg Quick Take.
Well, the fact that we've immunized, particularly here in the U.S., such a large percentage of our vulnerable populations, the elderly, healthcare workers who are exposed to the virus so much more frequently, that should have a major effect on our fatality rate or hospitalization rate, less so on the case rate because we still haven't immunized enough of the general population. So there should be a disconnect between the case rate and the fatality rate. However, the emergence of these new variants seems to be shifting the demographics of not only cases, but also of the severe cases to a much younger age group.
Yeah.
So that makes it a little bit questionable in terms of how much of an effect we'll see on the fatality rate.
And we will now stop the show and recapitulate a thought of the week, because this is really, really important. Dr. Pekos, when you see 38,000 people at a Texas Rangers baseball game, and they are the Ute of America, I want you to explain the risk of this virus to people who won't die.
Tom, when you said that, I literally got chills down my spine.
John Farrow says that all the time, by the way. Farrow repeatedly says that.
But these are exactly the situations that we cannot put ourselves into at this stage in the pandemic. The case numbers are extremely high. And not to get too technical, but when case numbers are high, surges turn into exponential growth as opposed to linear growth when what we see when case numbers are low. So we don't have enough time to respond to a surge when we start at a very high level of cases, because it quickly gets to a stage where the case numbers numbers are unmanageable. So we have a few weeks now, or maybe even 2 months at most, where we need to keep our public health interventions in place while we're vaccinating the general population. We're doing such a fantastic job of vaccinating people in this country, but we need the other tools to keep the case numbers down. Otherwise, we're going to find ourselves in a situation where we have variants springing up everywhere, and we're going to lose the advantage that we have with the vaccine.
Now, in other news, the Foreign Affairs Department has summoned Chinese ambassador to the Philippines, Wang Zilian, over tensions at the Julian Felipe Reef. In a statement, the DFA said it expressed displeasure over the illegal lingering presence of Chinese vessels in the reef, which is well within the Philippines' Exclusive Economic Zone, or EEZ. The DFA also scored Wang over his untoward statements on Defense Secretary Delfin Lorenzana. The agency also said both sides reaffirmed the use of peaceful settlement of issues in the disputed waters. Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. also tweeted that there are now only 9 ships in the Julian Felipe Reef, as reported by the West Philippine Sea Task Force. Now, for more updates, visit News 5, The Philippine Star, and Business World Online. Visit our website, onenews.ph, for more in-depth analysis. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.